I never really applied to Optichrome. For a very short while, when I first started working in the print industry, I was with a company that actually went bust. And I was, being an apprentice at the time, I think the union basically had to find me another job. And very luckily for me, a chap called Ted Stevens sat on a panel, on an apprentice panel. And I was sent along to interview here at Optichrome. And that was the first time that I met Ted. And oh boy, what a difference between the steam-driven company that I was with, who had a couple of litho machines, but they didn't know what to do with them. They were never switched on, and we were still running letterpress, to come over to Optichrome and to see what a modern, young, vibrant company was all about. And that's how it all began. I was offered the job that day, and I think I started about 4 days later. Well, my first day at Optichrome, and the date, even though it was so many years ago, I'm pretty sure would have been the summer of '79, probably around July. It was in black and white in those days. And I would have met Ted when I first came in. He was the only person here that I'd met before. And then I was passed over to the bindery manager, a lady called Jenny Sharp, who was a lovely lady, and I worked with Jenny for probably 5-6 years. And the very first job I was given, and I think it was probably designed to test whether or not I would stick with it, was to collate acetate sheets for a customer called Former Colour. And I did that for about 3 days, and I was so bored. But being around such a buzzy company, I thought, I won't have to do this forever. Stick with it, do your best, and hopefully next week I'll be doing something more exciting. And of course, that was just the beginning of a great ride that has lasted 40 years. Well, my favourite job, I've had so many roles at Optichrome. I have worked in production. I've worked in almost every area of the business. Things have changed so much. When I started, I probably had the first 5-6 years in production working in finishing, but even during that time I would have been given experience to run small presses, to work in plate making, to work on the camera. That's the type of business we were. We were all flexible, we were all very versatile, and it kept us all interested, and it meant that we attracted young people, and we kept good people, because we were never ever bored. I loved the finishing, I loved the precision of finishing, and I loved to produce a good job, and it was competitive. We tried to be faster than the person next to us to produce more. It was a lovely atmosphere. But during the 40 years, obviously, I was given the opportunity to undergo some management training. I then did a couple of years at Reading University doing a qualification in management, which opened up other opportunities for me. So I developed into the manager of the finishing area, then to production manager, and from production manager into general management and sales management, and eventually director. And I was the director, MD designate for many years under a chap called Jeff Veets before becoming full MD. I've loved every single role. I love the sales. I love being in sales as both a salesperson and a sales manager, which I probably did for about 4 or 5 years. And being successful in sales is a great buzz. There's probably nothing quite like that. But the excitement of bringing in a fantastic order and then seeing it produced, I got a real thrill from that. And then, of course, when I became MD, through some good times and a lot of bad times, probably MD through 3 very serious recessions, probably the worst one and the most serious back in 2008. That probably lasted a decade. As much as they were tough, they were exciting. I really enjoyed the challenge of working with our great team here to get through those times. So as much as it could be worrying, kept you awake at night, probably took a few years off me. I was bald to start with, so I didn't lose hair as a result of it. But actually dealing with some of those issues was challenging, and I really enjoyed it, and so did the team, and it probably brought the team closer together. Most memorable, so many over 40 years, I've probably forgotten more than I can remember. Most of my memorable moments will be about the people. A lot of it has been about our ability to buy fantastic equipment, actually, which may not sound very exciting to some people, but we were always innovative. We were always the first to buy so many pieces of kit. We had the first Solners of a particular model, the first Rolands of a particular type, all because we could see opportunity to be better or different to other suppliers and to give customers something that nobody else could provide. We were the first to bring in a Chromacom, which was a fantastic piece of equipment that probably in today's money would cost between £2 and £3 million. Huge risk for a business like ourselves, but it transformed the way that we did our film assembly in those days. As a matter of interest, that ended up going out in a skip because it was worthless after about 10 years. But around the people, my memories of Optichrome and being here all this time will be about some wonderful people that I've worked with. And customers. A lot of customers became good friends and still are my good friends after 30, 35 years. Lots of Optichrome staff that have moved on, I still see. I still consider to be friends, and I've got people here with us now that I consider to be friends. And of course, probably some of the biggest memories, or the most notable events, obviously the loss of Ted. Which is now probably 6 years ago. Massive impact on everybody here at Optichrome, and we've done fantastically since, and we just wish that Ted somehow could know how we're doing. I think he would be proud of all of us and how the company has moved on, and we're still going strong, and I would like to think probably doing better than ever. And lots of other people that I don't want to name because of fear of forgetting somebody, but those of us that have been here more than 20 years probably know the people I'm remembering who are no longer with us, who have passed away. But still, lots of lovely people still here. And the good thing about Optichrome, we're always very, very careful about the people that we choose to work with. We're here for a lot of our working, a lot of the day, a lot of the week, a lot of our lives are spent here. So we do like to surround ourselves with people that we actually enjoy to be with and enjoy working with. I would say the biggest change, I mean, obviously technology. Technology, it's chalk and cheese. The front end of the print industry, the front end we mean the studio, is unrecognisable compared to when I started. Printing and finishing looks similar. There have been some massive steps forward. It's far more efficient, productive. Quality is probably easier to maintain consistently now than it has ever been before. But I would say mainly in the front end. The other big change really is our accountability as a supplier to our customers. Obviously, we've always endeavoured and tried very hard to provide the best service at the best price, excellent quality every time. But now the pressure of producing that day in, day out is quite taxing, quite challenging, and probably the biggest challenge to our business. We're very good at it, but we can never relax, we can never be complacent. And it's another reason why we must make sure that we have the best possible team around who all share that similar, or that same ethos, if you like. And that same understanding that that's what we have to do, and never forget that. Our turnarounds are probably not much different to how they used to be, but what is different is the number of jobs that we have to process. Everybody is very busy all of the time. Sometimes we don't really have the time to remember to enjoy ourselves and to have a laugh, simply because the pressure is on every hour, every day to hit those targets, to hit those deadlines. But we do like to pat ourselves on the back now and again and just realise that we're doing a really, really good job here, and we have a great team. My commute is very short. Doesn't necessarily mean it's very quick. Woking is a terrible place at the moment to get through. And when we leave here in the evenings, we always have a laugh about, are we going to experience road rage trying to get through the roadworks in Woking? And I believe we have that probably for another 3 or 4 years ahead of us. I actually used to live near Richmond, a place called Isleworth, and it was about a 40-minute drive each way, and I decided to move closer to the office because at that time I was the first responder to problems and often had to come into the office at weekends, so it was convenient to move to Woking. I would say the journey from Westfield, which is probably 2 miles away, is more difficult than the journey I was doing from Isleworth 15, 20 years ago. I should do it by bike. I should probably walk it. I do occasionally walk it. The cycling, I always feel I would probably take in my life in my hands every time I try and get through Woking traffic, even though I do enjoy cycling, but I wouldn't want to arrive here in my Lycra, so I would, that wouldn't go down very well. So I tend to drive most days and promise myself every year, this is the year that I will either cycle or walk. But after all these years, I still haven't got round to it, so I better get round to it pretty soon. Oh, my inspiration, obviously, the main person has to be Ted. He gave me so many opportunities. He was a tough taskmaster, set a very high bar, but you always knew that if you worked hard, you got noticed and you applied yourself and you did your best, you would be rewarded with opportunities. So without a doubt, Ted would have been the most influential and inspirational person. But I've worked with excellent people. Not always, people that I've looked to at a senior level, but throughout the business, people who have really shone. Some of our new recruits, once again, I'm not going to mention anybody for fear of leaving anybody out, but throughout our business, I am often impressed, inspired, and amazed at some of the young people that we have and have had who have demonstrated phenomenal ability and attitude, and I just hope that we can provide them all with the same opportunities to develop as I was given and still enjoy. To do 40 years, I think it's hard to know what part I have played throughout those 40 years, but certainly in the last 20, getting through those tough times, helping to keep the team together, taking some difficult decisions, working with the directors to get an understanding that sometimes we need to take tough decisions and take some difficult action, and having everybody finally agree and understand that this is what we have to do and it's for the good of the business and for the benefit of most people in the business. So probably just still being part of a really successful, dynamic company who are still looking to invest in great equipment, in new people, trying to bring new people into the industry to make this company even better, and looking forward to the next 25 years, 50 years maybe. That's exciting. I'm really pleased that I've played my part in that. I suppose the fact that I started here as an apprentice, of course I was ambitious. Ted made it quite clear that if I worked hard, I would be given opportunities, and there was management training along the way for me if I was considered to be the right person. And I took every opportunity. Some of them scared the living daylights out of me, but I took them, I worked hard, and I developed through this business to where I am today. And that I'm proud of. I'm very proud that I did that. I'm very proud that I've been part of this fantastic business. And I just hope that we can provide those same opportunities for young people in our business today, because undoubtedly we do have some people here who can do as much as I've done, if not more. And I'd like to maybe come back in 25 years' time and find some of those people that I enjoy working with have gone on to become directors and doing great things here at Optichrome.